There are hundreds of videos on YouTube about public speaking, many offering suggestions for how to develop the skills needed to become a good public speaker. Debaters can certainly benefit from those videos, but debate speaking, at least the kind of speaking it takes to succeed in most forms of competitive academic debate, requires a much different and more intensive approach. In this video, I will help you better understand what it takes to be a great debate speaker and how you can start training to become one. This is the first in a series of training videos to help debaters improve their speaking deliveries. This video provides an overview of the training process. Subsequent videos will describe specific training methods. I'll start with part 1, the purpose of training to improve your debate speaking. Your primary goal as a debater should be to effectively communicate persuasive arguments to your judge. That's how you win debates. Of course, the most important ingredient in effectively communicating persuasive arguments to your judge is the argument. Even the fastest and most polished speaking delivery can't make up for a lack of quality arguments. But the way that arguments are delivered does affect the way that judges perceive them, so it can play a significant role in your success. With that in mind, the primary goal of your speaking training program should be to improve your ability to effectively communicate persuasive arguments to your judge. The better you're able to communicate your arguments, the better your chances of winning your debates. To understand why, think about everything that goes into preparing to win a competitive debate. It's really a three-part process. First, you have to know what you're talking about. This requires a lot of research and background reading. It also includes scouting your opponents so you know what topics you need to study and what arguments you need to learn. Second, you have to be ready to tell others what you're talking about. This is where argument construction, file preparation, and block writing comes in. It also includes rehearsals, the practice drills, speeches, and debates that hone your skills. It even includes mental preparation and everything else that goes into getting ready for tournaments. Third, you have to effectively tell others what you're talking about. This is the ultimate test of your preparation. How do you fare when challenged by your opponents? How much did you really learn? How well did you construct your arguments? How effectively did you rehearse? Did you debate your best, or did you fall short of your potential? It should be obvious that effectively telling others what you're talking about requires a good speaking delivery. A poor delivery will prevent you from effectively communicating your arguments to the judge, even if you are otherwise very well prepared for the debate. And it's not just the difference between good and bad speaking that matters. Every incremental improvement in your speaking will also incrementally improve your chances of winning a close debate. As you improve the quality of your speaking delivery, you'll become a better advocate for your arguments, and your arguments will become more convincing to your judges, even though the arguments themselves haven't changed. While it is possible to be a good debater without being a good speaker, your competitive ceiling will be much lower and you won't reach your full potential. There are few things more frustrating as a debater than losing a round where you had the better arguments, but your opponents used their superior deliveries to convince the judge otherwise. Improving your arguments can only get you so far if you struggle to effectively present them. That's why it's so important to train to improve your delivery. But training to improve your debate speaking is more complicated than it sounds, because debate speaking, the fast kind at least, is really weird. That brings me to part 2, why debaters talk so fast and how that influences your training. As anyone who has watched a high-level competitive debate can undoubtedly attest, debaters speak fast, very, very fast. This is something that tends to fascinate or infuriate newcomers to the activity. To the untrained ear, fast debate speaking sounds like gibberish. That's understandable. In everyday conversations, the average English speaker talks at a rate of between 120 and 160 words per minute. In contrast, the fastest debaters can eclipse 300 words per minute, more than double the everyday conversational average. Why? Time limits. In competitive debate, speech lengths are strictly limited. This creates a natural incentive for debaters to speak more quickly in order to pack more argumentation into their allotted time. This pressure is amplified by one of the dominant assumptions about how judges should evaluate competitive debates. Once an argument is made, the opposing side has the burden of rejoinder. If they don't answer the argument, the judge will consider it dropped and credit it to the other team's ledger. By speaking faster, debaters can introduce more arguments. By introducing more arguments, they can make it harder for their opponents to respond. By making it harder for their opponents to respond, they can make it more likely that the judge will vote for them. The competitive incentives to speak faster have therefore proven too hard to resist. But what if judges can't understand debaters' faster deliveries? This is sometimes a problem, and it's why the pedagogical merits of fast speaking remain a perennial source of controversy. But it turns out that humans can understand spoken language at upwards of 400 words per minute, faster than even the fastest debaters can speak. The constraint on what we can understand is not how fast we can listen, but how fast we can talk. And while it might be scientifically possible for people to talk as fast as 600 words per minute, The practical limit on comprehensible speaking is somewhere in the range of 350 words per minute. While the proverbial person off the street would be lost trying to follow someone speaking that quickly, many debate judges have acclimated to it over time. To them, fast debate speaking is normal, and this has been the case for at least some styles of debate for more than 40 years. Given this landscape, debaters naturally want to learn to speak fast, at least as fast as their opponents, and, if possible, even faster. But learning a fast debate delivery is difficult. Doing it well takes dedicated practice over a long period of time. Hasty attempts to achieve a faster delivery are almost always disastrous. By trying to quickly accelerate their deliveries, students develop many difficult-to-break bad habits that prevent effective communication, even with judges accustomed to evaluating arguments at extremely high speeds. So where does this leave you? You might have already tried to become a faster speaker only to find that you've lost your ability to communicate effectively with your judges. You need help figuring out how to fix what went wrong. Or maybe you're just starting to think about trying to speed up your delivery, and you want to make sure you're doing it the right way. Either way, it's important to understand two things. First, you can become a better, faster speaker. With the right training, a better speaking delivery is within your grasp. Second, speaking faster by itself is not the goal. You might be disappointed by this statement, but speaking faster should not be the primary goal of your training program. Your goal should be to speak better, which usually includes, but is by no means limited to, developing the ability to speak faster. Speaking faster is a means to an end, not an end in itself. A faster delivery does give you more time to make arguments, but, perhaps paradoxically, the best thing about a faster delivery is that it allows you to slow down more often and make stronger connections with your judges. The way I encourage you to think about it is like this. Your goal should be to speak well, fast, not to speak fast, well. Too many debaters attempt to speak quickly before they learn to speak well. As a result, they never develop the fundamental skills that make someone an effective speaker. The best debaters are good speakers who simply turn up the tempo in order to fit more content into their speeches. They still speak well, but they do so more quickly. But what does it mean to speak well? That brings me to part 3. The characteristics of good and bad debate speaking. So what is it that makes someone a good debate speaker? While each has their own distinctive attributes that help them effectively communicate arguments to their judges, I think they share 4 common elements that form a memorable acronym. Good debate speaking deliveries are epic, efficient, persuasive, insistent, and clear. Efficient means getting to the point, choosing words carefully, and taking full advantage of the allotted time. Nothing is superfluous. Persuasive means credible, compelling, and strongly connecting with the audience. They're speaking to the judge, not at them. Insistent means emphatic, attention-grabbing, and with a proper sense of urgency. The tempo is appropriately fast for the situation, but not too fast. Clear means direct, precise, and easily understandable. Both the words spoken and the ideas communicated are intelligible to the judge. Together, these 4 attributes, efficient, persuasive, insistent, and clear, define a good debate-speaking delivery. In contrast, bad debate-speaking deliveries also share many attributes. I'll use another acronym to help you remember them. Bad debate-speaking deliveries are a drumbeat, distracting, rushed, unclear, monotonous, breathless, emotionless, abrasive, and/or tentative. Distracting means aspects of the delivery interfere with the speech's content. This can include physical and verbal distractions. Rushed means too fast and with an inappropriate sense of urgency or even panic. Unclear means unable to be understood due to poor articulation or enunciation, the lack of projection, or other issues. Monotonous means boring and difficult to follow because of a lack of inflection. Breathless means gasping, choking, or otherwise becoming winded in a way that undermines the speech's content. Emotionless means without passion or enthusiasm. No connections are made with the judge. Abrasive means too loud, too aggressive, too inconsistent or herky-jerky, or otherwise painful to hear. The judge feels yelled at, not spoken with. Tentative means hesitant and without confidence, often including too soft or too quiet, in a way that undermines perceived credibility. Each of these issues can be remedied through appropriate training, but it isn't surprising that so many students have a hard time with their debate speaking deliveries. What students are being asked to do is extremely difficult. That leads me to part 4, why good debate speaking is so difficult. When we talk about debate speaking, we really mean 2 different things, scripted speaking and extemporaneous speaking. The scripted part of debate speaking includes the delivery of written blocks and evidence. Students typically compile these pre-prepared materials into a speech document and read it to the judge at a very high speed. The extemporaneous part of debate speaking includes the delivery of arguments based on the debater's flows, their written notes about the arguments made by both sides in the debate, and arguments off the top of their head. Some speeches, in policy debate, the first affirmative and negative constructives, are entirely scripted. Other speeches are a mix of scripted and extemporaneous content. And some speeches, the final affirmative and negative rebuttals in policy debate, are mostly, if not entirely, extemporaneous. But with both types of debate speaking, you're being asked to do something that is way more challenging than you might think. Think about it like this. In everyday life, reading is relatively standardized. Text is typically presented to us in a way that makes it, or at least tries to make it, easy to read. Most of the things we read are relatively similar. While reading a book is different from reading a newspaper and reading a Twitter feed is different from reading an email, most of the things we read share some basic commonalities. We read from left to right and from top to bottom, of course, but we also read everything, all of the words in all of the sentences. If we don't, we skim the text by jumping from header to header or from paragraph to paragraph, scanning for something we're looking for or that catches our attention. And in everyday life, we speak at relatively slow, comfortable speeds. When having conversations, we have time to think about what we want to say as we're saying it. In most everyday situations, we are thinking a lot faster than we are talking. But debate speeches are a significantly different experience. Debaters rarely read everything in a given document. Because speech time is limited, the text that debaters usually read is selectively underlined and highlighted. This often requires skipping over words or entire paragraphs, something we rarely do in any other context. And that's not all. Debaters are constantly skipping over whole sections of text in their speech documents, deciding on the fly to include or omit particular pieces of evidence or pre-written blocks as they scroll through their materials, all while continuing to deliver the speech without interruption. And on top of that, debaters often transition back and forth many times during the course of a speech between scripted arguments and extemporaneous arguments, constantly shifting their focus from the speech documents on their laptop to the written flows in their hands to the judge in the back of the room. And that's to say nothing of the extemporaneous parts of debate speeches, where you're trying to interpret your flows and think about an argument and express your response to it all at once, while speaking at twice the speed of an everyday conversation. And all of this is taking place in a stressful, competitive environment with a timer ticking down. But improving your debate speaking is possible with the right training. That leads me to part 5, the skills needed for a good debate speaking delivery and how to train them. Given how challenging it is, it's somewhat remarkable that anyone has managed to develop a good debate speaking delivery. To do so, you need an unusually well-developed set of mental and physical skills. Your speaking speed and the quality of your delivery depends on your reading speed, your ability to visually scan and track text, your ability to sustain your concentration, your articulation, enunciation, and pronunciation, your vocal quality, including timbre, tone, pitch, inflection, and tempo, and your breathing and breath control. The reason that so many students fail when trying to improve their speaking is because they train only part of the necessary skill set. What is required instead is something more like a cross-training program. Think of it like CrossFit for debaters. By completing the right kinds of workouts, the kind that develop the full range of skills needed for a good debate speaking delivery, you can get faster, clearer, more powerful, and more consistent. Workouts need to target each of the 6 types of skills. First, reading speed. If you're a slow reader, this needs to be your top priority. This often is the biggest barrier to a faster delivery, especially for beginning debaters. You can't speak faster than you can read, and trying to do so results in a terrible delivery. Incremental increases in reading speed can pay enormous dividends for debaters. There are many specific drills that can train this skill. Teaching people to read faster is a major industry, so there are a lot of great materials available online. Second, visual processing. This includes visual scanning and visual tracking. Visual scanning is the ability to use your eyes to systematically follow text without losing your place, like from left to right and top to bottom. Visual tracking is the ability to focus on what you're seeing as you scan. Together, scanning and tracking are referred to as visual processing, your ability to use your eyes to get the right information to your brain. For reasons I've already described, doing this effectively in debate is incredibly challenging, but it is something you can improve with the right workouts. Third, concentration. Training yourself to focus is essential to good debate speaking. Losing concentration is often the root cause of speaking issues. This is often related to visual processing. Because debate requires such frequent shifts of focus during speeches, it is hard to stay locked in. Several workouts can help you practice your concentration so that you are better able to maintain it during debates. Fourth, articulation, enunciation, and pronunciation. This is partially physical and partially mental. Articulation refers to the physical act of using your mouth to create sounds. Enunciation refers to how clearly you say words and sounds. And pronunciation refers to the way your words sound and whether they sound correct to your audience. Together, these three skills play a significant role in whether judges perceive your delivery as clear or unclear. Many workouts can effectively train all three skills, with some targeting one more than the others. Fifth, vocal quality. There are many variables that determine the perceived quality of your voice, and some of it is out of your control. However, everyone can develop and strengthen their voice and their control of their voice so that they can more consistently speak their best during debates. Specific warm-ups and workouts can improve your timbre, tone, inflection, and tempo. Sixth and finally, breathing and breath control. You have to learn how to breathe well in order to speak well. Great speakers breathe from the diaphragm, not from the throat. This improves your tone and preserves your vocal health. Breath control is particularly crucial the faster you try to speak. Without good breathing fundamentals, it is impossible to speak well fast. Thankfully, there are many workouts that can specifically train your breathing and develop your breath control. Future videos will provide specific examples of workouts that target each of these 6 skill sets. You can already check out my video, How Eric Arsenault Can Help Debaters Improve Their Speaking Deliveries, for a suggested training program from a professional voice coach. Arsenault's videos will help you improve your breathing, breath control, vocal quality, and articulation and enunciation. As you use these workouts and others in your own training regimen, I encourage you to keep 3 things in mind. First, you must train daily. At a minimum, I suggest 2 15-minute sessions per day. Longer sessions have diminishing utility, but daily practice is essential. Like any other specialized skill, progress can be slow, and gains will be quickly lost if you abandon your training regimen. But over time, committing to serious daily practice will dramatically improve your speaking delivery. Second, you must train purposefully. Going through the motions isn't training. It can even be counterproductive if it cements bad habits or techniques. You need to bring your full focus, attention, and effort to every drill. Constantly evaluate your strengths and weaknesses as a speaker and use that to design and redesign your training program. When you identify points of emphasis, work on them relentlessly. Push yourself in every workout to improve. Third, you must track your progress. I recommend weekly or bi-weekly benchmarks. Record yourself completing a standardized workout routine and assess your speed, how long did it take you to finish, and quality, how do you sound, over time. This will provide quantitative and qualitative feedback about your progress so that you can make appropriate adjustments to your program. It can also be a source of motivation. Seeing your progress will help you stay committed to your training. I hope this video helped you better understand the purpose of training to improve your debate speaking, why debaters talk so fast and how that influences your training, the characteristics of good and bad debate speaking, why good debate speaking is so difficult, and the skills needed for a good speaking delivery and how you can develop them. Thanks for watching, and good luck.